Hello, I'm Georgina Goodman, Service Delivery Manager here at Computer Network Defence Limited, also known as CND.
Hi, I'm Steve Derrick from Computer Network Defence. I'm a Cyber Essentials assessor and have several years' experience working on Cyber Essentials engagements with clients large and small.
Wonderful. So I'm hoping that many of you may have already heard of us, but for those of you that don't know CND, we are a cybersecurity consultancy and recruitment agency operating from both the Isle of Man and the UK. We've been based on the island since around about 2016, and in that time, we have built up a great range of clients. And of course, we are always keen on being put in touch with new businesses to help secure them in any way. If you've watched other presentations linking to ours today, you may have heard from IASME and the Department for Enterprise, who have both focused on Cyber Essentials. We are going to try our very best today to avoid repeating their presentations, but there may be a small amount of crossover. So today, Steve and I would like to focus on you as the client and talk you through some of the steps you need to take in order to gain the Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus certifications. And most importantly, some top tips that may help you get there. I'm just going to share my screen. Bear with me one moment. Wonderful. So, CND have been working with IASME as a certification body since 2016, and we are licensed to conduct both Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus certifications. So we have a wealth of experience under our belts and have worked with large and small businesses providing consultancy, advice, and assistance on their journey to becoming Cyber Essentials compliant. As I mentioned today, you may have already heard about the CE Basic certification from IASME, but in short, it is a self-assessment questionnaire that is based around the 5 controls listed. And once attained, this certification will last for 12 months. So I'm now going to move on and focus on what to expect in terms of the client journey if you were to certify via CND for Cyber Essentials Basic. We have a helpful Cyber Essentials checklist on our website, which we recommend clients take a look at before embarking on the Cyber Essentials certification. CND provide a range of support for you, depending on your security posture or knowledge. And we can also provide you with a copy of the self-assessment questionnaire beforehand that you can use as an internal working document. This is something that lots of our clients find really, really useful. Once payment is received, we will set you up on the portal where you will submit your SAQ answers. Following this, one of CND's certified assessors will then mark the SAQ and provide you with a pass or fail. Certificates and feedback are all provided via the online portal. If you were to fail, the assessor would provide guidance on points for clarification to help you meet the standard. The most important thing for us is helping you to meet that standard. So please rest assured, we will be working with you to attain that pass. As mentioned by Dr. Emma Philpott from IASME, free cyber insurance is offered to all qualifying organisations that meet the required CE standard. So I'm now going to hand you over to Steve, who is one of our certified CE assessors, who is going to give you some top tips on preparing and working through the Cyber Essentials certification.
So Cyber Essentials is about getting the basics right so that organisations can guard against the most common internet-based cybersecurity threats. It's been designed so that controls are understandable, simple to implement, and be achievable. It's worth noting that it's a point-in-time assessment, so responses have to be as things currently are and not aspirational. So think of it like a MOT test for your car. The control questions are designed to be quite binary in nature and do not permit compensating controls or mitigations typically implemented by large organisations, and the SAQs are marked according to specific criteria. The board level attestation serves as proof that the responses are true and correct, so no actual testing is carried out for Cyber Essentials Basic. I'd highly recommend reading the NCSC's guidance on the requirements for IT infrastructure. This is a really accessible document that goes into further detail on what is required to be CE compliant. So a really important tip is to read the question guidance carefully. Now, it sounds really obvious, but doing so will greatly improve your understanding on what is actually required in your responses. It will also help reduce the risk of failing and help prevent delays in passing caused by requests for further clarification from us. Now, the guidance is provided in the question set SAQ as well as the portal SAQ, so it's readily available to help you plan your responses well in advance. If you think about classic exam technique, you need to ensure that you provide sufficient information and detail in your responses in order to answer what is being asked. This aids the assessor in building up a good picture of your organisation and arms them with enough knowledge in order to make an informed decision on whether the requirements are being met. So help your assessor to help you. For example, we see on a devices in scope question, omission of key information in order to pass that question, such as listing 20 Windows 10 machines instead of something useful like 20 Lenovo ThinkPad X1 laptops running Windows 10 Pro version 1909. You get the picture. So conversely, too much information can also be almost as bad as not receiving enough. For example, pasting several pages worth of detailed software inventory when a simple summary or overview is being requested. Contradictions are another issue and are especially apparent on renewals. So check your SAQ for consistency and accuracy before you submit it. Now, it's worth knowing that it's possible to certify a distinct subunit of your organisation to the CE standard. This can be useful for larger organisations where meeting the requirements for the whole company is not feasible for whatever reasons. Bear in mind, though, that the free cyber insurance is only available when certifying your whole organisation. Many organisations choose to pursue CE certification to satisfy the supply chain, contractual or bid requirements. If this is the case, then you need to check your requirements and expectations carefully before doing this. So another thing is, if you're considering CE Plus, then this will need to be achieved within 3 months of passing CE Basic. And a key consideration here is that the scope for CE Plus must match that of CE Basic. And if the scope changes, then you'll need to recertify CE Basic first of all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Steve. Some really useful tips for everybody there. If anybody does have any questions based on anything mentioned so far, then please don't hesitate to reach out after. My contact details will be provided at the end. So we're now going to move on to Cyber Essentials Plus. As you may know, the CE Plus focuses on the same 5 controls as the Cyber Essentials Basic, but the difference is that the CE Plus requires a qualified assessor to independently audit the client. This audit includes a series of tests on a representative sample of in-scope systems, as well as conducting external and internal vulnerability assessments. CE is the prerequisite to achieving CE Plus, and like the Cyber Essentials Basic certification, it is also valid for 12 months. So, a little more information on what to expect when going through the Cyber Essentials Plus process with CND. So, to start with, even if you have obtained your CE Basic through CND, we always kick off with a scoping call. This allows us to firm up the systems that will be in scope, verify the representative sample, and most importantly, talk you through what to expect from the assessment. From here, we are able to provide you with a full quotation, which you as the client would sign off, along with an authority to proceed, which gives us permission to carry out the internal and external scanning. Within the scoping call, the quote dates would have been agreed, so the next step is to start the assessment. Due to on-site restrictions as a result of COVID-19, CND assessors can work with you to undertake the entire Cyber Essentials Plus audit remotely, though if you'd prefer, we can also attend site. If we do need to attend site, we prefer to perform as many remote checks as possible beforehand. This helps to reduce the likelihood of further visits should we encounter any problems that prevent you from passing. You will be advised if you have passed or failed once all the tests have been completed. And if there are any areas at all that you have not passed, then a remediation plan will be provided. And you have 30 days from the start of the test to rectify any issues and still obtain a pass. Like with the Cyber Essentials Basic, our main aim is to help you achieve that pass. Following a pass, you will be issued with the full report and the certificate. The big important bits, of course, that you will also be given the badges to put on your website or wherever you see fit. So I'm now going to pass back over to Steve, who is going to give you his top tips for preparing and passing Cyber Essentials Plus. Over to you, Steve.
So as Georgina mentioned, C+ is based on the same 5 controls as C Basic. So that's your firewalls, secure configuration, malware protection, user access control, and patch management. The C+ test specification is freely available, so there should be no unexpected surprises. This includes details on test areas, including the external vulnerability assessment, internal vulnerability assessment of the sample devices, the sample device testing on malware delivery via email and web browser, and the checking of malware protection on sample devices. As mentioned, the scope needs to match C Basic, and the sampling looks to test devices that are representative of 90% of the common devices in use. So it's worth bearing in mind that the smaller the range of different devices and builds in use will also mean a smaller sampling requirement, which may impact on time, cost, and disruption. Housekeeping can help for definite. So for devices protected by AV, ensure your solutions are up to date. So definitions within 24 hours and the engine within 30 days. And ensure your apps and operating systems are all up to date and in support, as they should be as per C Basic. Also switching off auto download for installed browsers is recommended, so this helps to ensure users are prompted appropriately. If feasible, it's worth running an internal credentialed with admin permissions vulnerability scan ahead of any audit. This is to ensure that everything is in good shape and will help prevent any nasty surprises on the day of testing. As per C Basic, C+ is a point-in-time assessment, so all requirements have to be satisfied on the day or days of testing. And as Georgina mentioned, if there are failings, then you have a remediation window of 30 days permitted in order to resolve and retest. As C Basic, C+ certification has a 12-month lifespan, so ensure you build in sufficient timescales to renew your certification if required. I think the biggest takeaway really is if your organisation has passed C Basic and your reality matches the responses you've attested to in your SOQ, then there should be very little to be concerned about for C+.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Steve. Some really great tips for everyone to take on board there. So we have come to the end. Thank you to everybody for listening in to us today. We really hope it has been useful. Often we find that the unknown can be a reason for steering clear of certifications, especially if it isn't mandated by your supply chain. However, Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus are both very accessible certifications that can be achieved by most organizations. If you haven't already, please do check out the presentation by the Department for Enterprise, which talks through the Cyber Essentials grants available to businesses on the island. As promised, you should be able to see my contact details on this final slide, and please do reach out should you have any questions about anything that has been covered in today's session. Alternatively, please check out our website at cndltd.com. Thank you.